Speaking of the Murdochs, what you got for us?
All right, let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen. This is pretty interesting in terms of the proclivities of billionaires and why you never really want to make sure that you are aligned with them. The Murdochs, the kingmakers of conservative media, are starting to lose confidence in Ron DeSantis. This was reported by Rolling Stone. Now, normally, I would not just rely on Rolling Stone, but one of the reasons why I think that you can take this to the bank is that the Murdochs, and clearly the people around them, are basically leaking this to anybody who will listen. Go ahead and put the next one up there. Literally almost an hour after that story posted, another one was posted by the New York Times saying, quote, DeSantis confronts a Murdoch empire no longer quite so supportive. The Florida governor faced tough questions, as we noted from Fox News and outlets, in a sign of growing skepticism. Furthermore, Krystal, Mr. Murdoch, quote, has privately told people he would like to see Governor Glenn Youngkin of Virginia enter the race, according to a person with knowledge of his remarks. And he has made clear in private discussions that he thinks Trump, despite his popularity with Fox News viewers, is unhealthy for the Republican Party. And I think when you can put these two things together, you are actually seeing a growing trend of a lot of these billionaires are just the most fickle people on earth. I mean, just earlier today, I was looking at a story. Top donors are starting to sour on DeSantis and looking at Governor current Senator Tim Scott. Now you also see people like Ken Griffin, who I've noted here before, and it shows you again how ridiculous these people are. Griffin makes it known months ago, I've got a blank check for Ron DeSantis. He'll never want for money. Now it's like Ken Griffin's eye is beginning to wander.
Oh, for real?
Oh, yeah. I mean, these are fickle people. They have no loyalty. Their ideology is, ridiculous at best. They're already, all they care about is lower taxes. They thought DeSantis, he's the guy who will get it done for us. He's just not so mean as Trump. And now, at the moment that they think that you're not doing well, they really have no loyalty whatsoever. So the Murdoch problem is a much bigger billionaire problem that I think Ron DeSantis has right now.
I mean, it's disgusting the way that these people just play with the whole nation like it's their playthings, you know, and they think that they're kingmakers and whatever, even though, I mean, it's really not even... Money in politics is still a big problem, especially at the lower levels, but at the presidential level, I mean, Ken Griffin could write his $1 billion check to Ron DeSantis or whatever, and I don't think that it would get him across the finish line. But the reason that I think there's a lot of confidence in this reporting, too, is because you can see the signs of it all over the Murdoch properties. We covered here how Will Cain and then Maria Bartiromo just basically, confronted DeSantis with what's going on with your poll numbers, buddy, which really contrasted with the treatment that he got early in the campaign, where it was nothing but puff pieces. Remember he was playing softball with, was it one of the Fox and Friends, Kilmeade, I think it was, and he was getting this unbelievable, embarrassingly friendly write-up from Selena Zito in the New York Post. I mean, it was just puff piece after puff piece. They would go out in the wilderness and do their best to find a few Ron DeSantis supporters to be like, we're done with Trump. We love Ron DeSantis now. So the fact that they've turned is becoming increasingly apparent, both on Fox News. They also note in this Rolling Stone piece the editorial pages of News Corp's newspapers, which they say are often important tea leaves for divining the Murdoch family's political wishes. They've taken recent jabs at DeSantis. New York Post editorial board, which once hailed DeSantis as the candidate who gives America the chance to move on from its punch-drunk stupor. They've begun to look askance at DeSantis. They curated pieces expressing skepticism at, quote, DeSantis's odd choices, to criticize Trump's Supreme Court picks, and to be too online in his constant culture war crusading. So the biggest thing that happened here is just the polls aren't good.
Yeah,
and so they're looking at it and they're like, you don't look like a winner to me. And then there's a lot of other justifications of oh, we don't like your position on this or that, or you've taken too hard of a turn on culture war issues. But I think the bottom line is if he was committed to cutting their taxes, which he, I'm sure is, and he was winning, they would stick with him. I think the Tim Scott thing is interesting. I keep going back to the reporter we had on, what was her name, Shelby Talcott?
Yeah, Talcott.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
She had told us months ago, she was like, the people that the person that the Trump team are actually looking at is Tim Scott. And, maybe that's just what the Trump team was telling her, but I do think it's interesting that he's getting a second look from the elite media and donor class. And then the Youngkin flirtation is to me hilarious. that guy's going to be your Trump slayer. Okay, right. Good luck with that. Good luck with that,
He's a nice guy. You know, I think he's a good politician for where he is, but like even he, I don't think has any compunction that he could ever win an actual.
I know he's like flirting with it again, so never underestimate these people's egos.
Look, I mean, you know better than I, but Virginia, I do think that it is a perverse incentive that these guys don't have to run for re-election. So it's basically, what is it? Because you have a one-term limit, right?
Yeah, one-term
whenever
limit.
Whenever you're the gov. So I guess the idea is then you won't focus on that, but it also almost immediately makes you want to think and look for the future,
whatever's
for
next.
National prospects or for donor dollars. So in a way, I almost think that having to run for re-election is a good limiter on keeping you at least like semi-focused within the state. But I don't know. I've heard a lot of different theories around it. At the end of the day, though, Glenn Youngkin is not going to be the GOP nominee. You know, remember this. There was a lot of theory that he couldn't even win a real primary. They had to use ranked choice voting at the GOP convention to even get him the nomination. If they had let it to the base, we would have had some crazy wacko be the Corey Stewart level guy who would have got blown out in a GOP gubernatorial election. So anyway, that's another reason I like Glenn.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That they had to basically like usher him through. Usher him through the GOP primary because he was gonna get his ass beat by some weirdo crank if he didn't.
I mean, it worked. Yeah,
Terry McAuliffe would probably be governor of Virginia. So yes, it did work, but they probably won't be able to pull that off at the Republican primary level as much as they would really like to.
That's right.
Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.